spawned by the heat of the sun and the rotation of the Earth, transport water and energy around the globe. Clouds and precipitation shown here are from NASA's MERA-2 reanalysis, a retrospective blend of a weather model and conventional and satellite observations. Within the mid-latitudes, winds move clouds from west to east. Within the tropics, easterly trade winds converge along the equator to create a moisture-rich cluster of clouds, convection, and precipitation called the Intertropical Convergence Zone, or ITCZ. Disturbances in its flow transport immense amounts of moisture and energy from the tropics to the poles. Studies have shown that atmospheric rivers account for the vast majority of the poleward transport of water vapor. The American Meteorological Society defines an atmospheric river as a long, narrow, and transient corridor of strong, horizontal water vapor transport that is typically associated with a low-level jet stream ahead of the cold front of an extratropical cyclone. A common measure for the strength of an atmospheric river is the integrated water vapor transport, or the amount of moisture that is moved from one place to another by the flow of the atmosphere. The blue shading shown here gives a three-dimensional view of the water vapor transport. Tropical moisture is pulled in from the ITCZ, and in this example, converges with other flows to form an atmospheric river. The feature then travels toward the west coast of the United States as a subclass of atmospheric rivers commonly referred to as the Pineapple Express, due to its origin near Hawaii. The atmospheric river is guided by the semi-permanent subtropical high pressure off the coast of California and the Baja Peninsula, as well as the Aleutian Low in the Gulf of Alaska. The pressure gradient between the clockwise flow of the Californian high and the counterclockwise flow of the Aleutian Low funnel the atmospheric moisture into a narrow corridor. The more intense the pressure gradient is, the stronger the winds are that transport the water vapor. Extreme rainfall has also been associated with the more intense gradients. Much of the moisture stays close to the surface, but the rising motion of the low pressure to the north results in the air cooling, condensing the water vapor into a liquid. Precipitation over the ocean falls along the feature's cold front on its northern side. Another way that air can rise and condense into precipitation is through orographic lift. When air encounters the mountains along the west coast of the United States, it is forced upwards. The rising air becomes saturated, causing rain and snow to fall, particularly on the windward side of the mountain. The flow of air continues eastward, depleted of its moisture. The precipitation that falls because of atmospheric rivers is important for the hydrologic cycle in the western United States. The winter buildup of the snowpack provides valuable freshwater resources. Despite being beneficial at times, atmospheric river-induced precipitation can also be destructive. The occurrence of extreme atmospheric river precipitation events, such as the one that occurred in this example, can result in widespread flooding and mudslides. Atmospheric rivers are not unique to the west coast of North America and occur around the globe, including New Zealand, Greenland, Antarctica, and the Middle East. The study of global phenomena such as atmospheric rivers over the past 4 decades is made possible through NASA's MERA-2 reanalysis, a spatially and temporally consistent blend of satellite and conventional observations with a numerical model. With a data set that provides hourly information around the globe since 1980, there is still much that can be learned about Earth's atmosphere and the transport of water and energy around the globe.
This is the first self-defense tool I am showcasing on this channel. Before we get into it, quick note. Everything in this video is for educational and responsible use only. Always follow your local laws. Always handle tools like this safely. Now let's talk about why this matters. On this channel we focus on survival tech, off-grid communication, and preparing for worst-case scenarios. But there is one question people avoid. What happens in a real blackout? Not just a short outage, I am talking about a full system collapse. No stores, no digital payments, no supply chains. Eventually everything runs out. That includes ammunition. Firearms are powerful, but ammo is finite. Once it is gone, it is gone. And in a long-term situation, replacing it becomes very difficult. That is where something like a crossbow makes sense. You get reusable ammo, you can recover your bolts, you can even make your own if needed, and it is quiet. That matters more than people think. Now, let's talk about access. Depending on where you live, firearms can be difficult to obtain. There are laws and regulations that can make it hard for the average person. But people who intend to do harm do not follow those rules. So when restrictions increase, it often affects the people trying to do the right thing. That is the reality. So having an alternative matters. Something effective, something reliable. Now, yes, there are cheaper options. You can find small pistol crossbows online. They work for light use, but for serious situations, they are not ideal. On the other side, you have traditional crossbows. They are powerful, but they are heavy and harder to use effectively. Modern crossbows are different. They are advanced, more compact, more powerful, easier to load, easier to use, and more practical for most people. They are not just for one purpose. You can use them for hunting. You can use them for fishing. You can use them for utility. For me, I plan to use this for unique builds, setting up mesh-tastic nodes in trees, deploying gear in hard-to-reach areas, integrating it into off-grid and cybersecurity projects. So this is more than just one tool. Now let's talk about safety in the home. Firearms require serious training and responsibility, especially if you have a family. A crossbow is different. It takes intentional effort to use. It does not just happen by accident. It requires strength to load. It requires awareness to operate. Because of that, it can reduce the risk of accidental use, especially around children. That is one of the reasons I feel more comfortable having something like this in my home right now. All right, so real quick, I just want to go over everything they sent me. The Bat reverse crossbow with T-stock. They also sent over a custom string and cable set along with a string replacement tool. We've got a 4x32 Viper eye scope with mounts for a Picatinny rail, an archery workbench mat for building and working on everything, and a reusable self-healing target so we can actually test this thing out. Now in this video, we're going to focus on building the crossbow and getting everything set up. But I will say this, it's always a good idea to have backup parts ready to go. If something like a blackout happens and stores are not an option, at least you already have what you need. And when it comes to maintenance, this bow is not that complex. It is actually pretty easy to replace parts and keep it running. Make sure you subscribe because we are going to go deeper into that in a future video. Alright, so we're going to put this thing together, and I didn't look at the instructions. I kind of just figured this thing out. It's pretty simplistic the way they have this thing set up, and a lot of the screws are already pre-screwed for you, so all you got to do is unscrew them and put it back in. And I did notice, too, that they lubricate these screws a little bit, which is really nice. Nice little premium feature there. But there's 3 screws, which you got to take apart. 2 on the side, 1 on the top, and then you should be able to slide the stock in, just like this. And then when you're done, all you gotta do is put the screws back in. So I think I just go through all 3. And it comes with Allen wrenches, so you don't really need to buy any hardware and tools. It comes with it already. So there was a 2 on the side and then 1 on the top to screw it down. Now keep that in mind because later on in the video I'm going to show you what you need to do to get it to fit in a backpack, which is basically just disassembling what you just did. So it's really nice because it's so compact you can literally fit this in your backpack, and it's pretty sturdy. So next step, you're going to want to put the grip on, and just like I said before, the screws are already pre-screwed for you, so all you got to do is unscrew it and screw everything in. Everything should line up quite nicely, and all you got to do is tighten everything down. There should be 3 screws for this process right here. Now the really cool thing about this grip is that you can pretty much bend it any way you want, so it's easy to put the screws in. So all you got to do is push this one back, and then tighten the screw over here in the middle. Once you do that, the grip is installed, and it's really nice. It feels really good in your hands. It actually helps balance the bow out really nice, and having that little bit more control is really, really nice. And you can bend it either way, so like you can have it straight up like way I have it in this video, but after doing testing and using it, I actually have the thing slightly bent back. It actually helps it rest in my hands. I recommend having it in that position, but both is pretty good, and you can tighten it either way depending on what position you actually want. Now, some people don't need this, but I ended up putting it on the bow. It's a little helper, so once you put this on, you can basically put your foot on this and then pull the drawstring back, and you're able to cock the bow a lot easier. Now, some people can do it without that. My arms are not long enough to do something like that, but I recommend putting that little piece on you just saw so you can do that. They also give you a little bit of grease, so it's nice to have this to keep your bow nice and lubricated, and it kind of helps it from drying out, and it gives it a little bit more life, and also putting a little bit on the rails to help with the friction. So they ended up sending me this Viper scope, so this is better for like mid to long range, but I'm going to probably be putting my own red dot on this eventually, but since they sent this to me, I better put it on just so you could see it. Some people might prefer having a long range scope on it. I'm also going to be putting a red dot laser on the bottom. But you see here, this is what you get. And there's a smaller side and a bigger side. So make sure you have the smaller side facing you. That's meant for your eye. And these little clamps, you just got to unscrew them and screw everything back into place, which is really nice. So everything's kind of like pre-assembled to the point where it's easy for you to put together yourself. And you're going to put 2 on, like you see here. 1, 2, and then you're going to clamp it onto the rail by unscrewing those big screws here. And they have like this special little metal piece, once you unscrew it, it'll fall off. that kind of hold it onto the rail, so you put it on just like that. Then with the screw that you just unscrewed, put the screw back on. And once you're done with that, you just need to repeat that step on the other side. Now, once you're done tightening it this way, you're going to want to use the Allen wrench on its side to tighten it even further, because you don't want the scope to wobble at all. So as you see here, I put it on its side and I tighten it this way. Gives you a little bit more leverage, a little bit more power to tighten it. And I would repeat this step on the other side as well. You want it kind of the same tension on both sides. Now, if you accidentally do this like I did, my scope wasn't lined up perfectly. So all I did was loosen it a little bit and get everything nice and straight, and I tightened it all down. And that's it. This is the whole build for this crossbow. And it's not that hard. And again, I didn't really use instructions. I kind of looked at a couple pictures when it came to the scope to make sure I didn't put it backwards. But that's pretty much it. With a little common sense and 2 brain cells and a dream, you can make this happen too. Now, my first impressions of putting this thing together is just wow. It just looks so cool. It almost looks like a firearm, to be honest with you. But this is a crossbow, and you don't need any special license for this. And it just looks so good. It's so comfortable to hold. And being comfortable is big, because if you're going to be walking around in the woods for a while, when you have this giant, heavy bow, it kind of fatigues you a little bit. But when you have something like this, it actually makes it much more enjoyable. Now, I'm probably going to be making some modifications to this myself. I might add some purple features as well as replacing the scope on this. I want to put a shorter range scope, maybe like a red dot. And I want to upgrade the laser I have currently on it. And I put a laser on it already, as you can see here. But I wanted something a little bit brighter so I can see it more in the daytime as well. And to fit this in your backpack, this is how easy it is. So you remove those 3 screws that you saw earlier. And this thing fits really nice in your bag. So if you want to like conceal it, so you don't want the stock hanging out, you just take out those 3 screws, you put everything in your backpack, and as you see here, it fits really nicely. You wouldn't even know there's a full-blown crossbow in this bag. So it's a little bit easier to carry. And then when you're done, you want to put it together, you just take those 3 screws in the stock, and you screw everything together, and you're good to go. Or you could just do it like this, the lazy way, and just stuff in your bag and have the stock hanging out. That might look really suspicious, but if you're lazy like me, it's easier doing that. And again, you can see the difference between the Ballista bow and the standard crossbow. Definitely night and day. I much rather have this small, compact, powerful bow. And speaking of that, we should probably go over some of the specs. Ballista claims that this is the most compact, powerful, reverse draw crossbow in the world. The speed is 340 feet per second. You have 150 pounds of draw weight, as well as kinetic energy is 43 KE, depending on the bolts you're using. Weighs about 3 pounds. Length is 16 inches. Width is between 5 and 8.75, depending if it's cocked or not. Now, it has a very special reverse draw limb system, and it's only 50 pounds of force to load it. And they have a quick reload system with a nice pull handle. Now, I'm going to be making some videos testing it and doing some fun projects with it, but as of right now, I'm just recovering from being sick, so I'm going to be doing some more outdoor stuff soon. I also want to build up my confidence and modify the bow a little bit. I have been using it, and I'm telling you right off the bat, my first impressions of even shooting this thing are just awesome. The thing is so powerful, and it's so small, it's incredible. I wish I had this thing sooner, but I love it, and I look forward to making more videos on this thing, diving into it, doing maintenance videos as well as customization and some cool projects with it, but definitely not going to be the last time you see this bow on the channel. Now, I'm partnered with Ballista, so if you guys want to save 5% on your bows or stuff from their website, use code GHOSTRATS and you can save 5%. I'll leave the affiliate links in the description. Also, if you purchase one of these things, it actually helps my channel as well. But what do you guys think? This is the first survival tool and self-defense weapon we ever showcase on this channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is definitely going to be my Blackout go-to self-defense weapon. Thank you for watching, and remember that safety is an illusion.